The modern tennis fan might only hear the name Jim Courier and think of Jim Courier, the person who conducts on court interviews after Australian Open tennis matches. But there is more to Jim Courier than just that. He was an explosive tennis talent, and I use the word explosive intentionally. By the time Jim Courier turned 22, he had reached the singles finals of all four Grand Slam major tournaments, becoming at that time the youngest player in history to accomplish that feat. In his 12-year career, Jim Courier won four majors, two French Open titles and two Australian Open titles, all coming within the span of the years 1991 and 1993. He ascended to the number one world ranking for 58 weeks in late 1992 and throughout 1993. Very few players in the Open era of tennis have managed to reach the major singles finals in the men's category in Melbourne, in Paris, in London, and in New York. Jim Courier's name is among that elite group of male tennis players. Jim Courier always wore his ever-present baseball cap. He possessed a fierce inside-out forehand and a compact two-handed backhand. Jim Courier was a battler and a fighter. What he may have lacked in pure talent, he nullified with hard work, grit, and a pounding baseline game. Power was the essence of Jim Courier's game. He was part of a generation of big-hitting young American players along with Andre Agassi, Michael Chang, and Pete Sampras. He more than held his own against each of these legendary tennis players and won his first major title at the 1991 French Open, defeating Andre Agassi in a slugfest 3-6, 6-4, 2-6, 6-1, 6-4. Jim Courier launched his career by winning an ATP tournament in Basel, Switzerland on 9th October 1989, defeating Stefan Edberg in 5 grueling sets. The hallmarks of Jim Courier's game, a powerful forehand that he pounced on early, he preferred to hit the ball on the rise, combined with his length strength, enabled him to come back from a 2-1 deficit to defeat the Swede 7-6, 3-6, 2-6, 6-love, 7-5. Jim Courier's racket head speed made him one of the best service returners in the world, and he was particularly explosive on second serve opportunities. He'd pounce on short balls, driving his power shots deep into the corners. He was a strong volleyer when his approach shots were returned, which wasn't often. When Courier was hitting the ball cleanly, there was little his opponent could do but hang on and hope his sizzle would fizzle. John McEnroe, who Jim Courier defeated in the fourth round of the 1992 US Open, said that Jim Courier's serve was underrated. He was correct. Jim Courier would regularly blast serves 105 miles per hour, instantly putting himself in attack mode. Jim Courier's 1991 French Open title came as the number 9 seed over the number 4 seed Andre Agassi. He defeated the number 1 seed Stefan Edberg, who he enjoyed a 6 wins to 4 defeats career record against in the quarterfinals, and outlasted Germany's Michael Stich in a long 4-set semi-final for the right to pound away with Andre Agassi in a victorious 3-hour final at the French Open. At the 1991 US Open, Jim Courier made a valiant run toward a championship, continuing a string of major finals against Stefan Edberg. He defeated wild card Jimmy Connors in the semi-finals. Stefan Edberg denied Jim Courier his one and only opportunity for a United States Open title, defeating him in the finals 6-2, 6-4, 6-love. Jim Courier began the 1992 season by winning the Australian Open and defeating Stefan Edberg in a second major final 6-3, 3-6, 6-4, 6-2. After winning his first Australian Open, Jim Courier celebrated the victory by jumping fully clothed in his match-worn tennis clothes into Melbourne's murky Yarra River. Jim Courier's second French Open title came in 1992, but this did not come at the expense of Stefan Edberg. Stefan Edberg, the number 2 seed in the tournament, was upset in the third round. As the top seed, Courier swept Agassi in straight sets in the semifinals and then routinely defeated Czech Petr Korda 7-5, 6-2, 6-1 in the finals. Jim Courier defended his Australian Open championship in 1993 over Stefan Edberg again, winning 6-2, 6-1, 2-6, 7-5, and once again Jim Courier repeated his dive into the Yarra River. This was the last major victory in his career. Jim Courier would play himself into four more major semifinals: the 1992 US Open, the Australian and French Open in 1994, and the US Open again in 1995. Though he was unable to win another major title, a tall task given how competitive men's tennis had become in the 1990s, he did advance to the 1993 French Open final, where he lost to Spain's Sergi Bruguera, and the Wimbledon final in 1993, where he lost to Pete Sampras. Jim Courier went a perfect 5 for 5 in Masters Series tournament finals from 1991 to 1993 and was a year-end championship finalist in 1991 and 1992. In 1991, he lost to Pete Sampras, and in 1992, he lost to Boris Becker. Jim Courier was also an integral part of 7 United States Davis Cup teams in 1991, 1992, 1994, 1995, 1997, 1998 and 1999, helping the Americans win in 1992 and 1995. Since his retirement from the professional tour in 2000, Jim Courier has served as a television tennis analyst and commentator. He was also the United States Davis Cup team captain from 2011 to 2018.